Hello everybody, Double J101 back again with another video, and today we'll be taking a look at War for Cybertron Siege Voyager class Megatron. So before we get into the figure, let's take a look at the package. As usual with these Siege figures, we have some fantastic artwork here on the side of Megatron, which also shows him standing on Omega Supreme's head, or a Sentinel of some sort, but I'm pretty sure that's Omega Supreme. And we show Megatron here in his robot mode as well as his tank mode and some product placements for the Battle Masters. But really that's about it for the packaging, so let's move on to the figure. Here we have Megatron in his tank mode, and overall he looks fantastic. All the things that he comes with really are on him already, which is nice storage. We have a cannon here that also turns into a sword, which you'll see later, as well as his cannon that goes on his arm. Again, you'll see that later when it's actually on him. Otherwise, we see some decent black plastic throughout this figure, as well as a little bit of bronze paint here on the treads. We do see some of that battle damage paint throughout the figure, at least on the top of the treads. Nothing here on the side, which it would have been nice, but it does show some here on the top and, like I said, near the treads. His feet are hanging off the back, and that's just something you have to deal with, but overall it doesn't look too bad. At least the heels do cover it up and make it look a little different. Kind of give a back of a tank look, sort of. And overall, really, that's about it for the tank. We do see a little of the paint here on the barrel of the tank, which is pretty nice with the red and the black and some silver, but like I said, that's about it for the tank. For comparison, we'll bring in Siege Optimus Prime to really get a decent look of the two main Voyagers for Wave 1, and you can see the size difference between the two. Of course, the tank's going to be a little bigger because of the barrel, but overall, they look pretty nice. Last comparison, let's bring in Siege Shockwave to really get a good view of the size difference between the two and how close they kind of are as well. Which really, it's pretty close overall, especially when you see Megatron takes up almost the entire part of Shockwave. But still, pretty nice. Let's move on to transformation here, so we'll first go ahead and unpeg his arms from the cannon. This will loosen up his weapons to get them removed, at least for the time being. And we can move them to the side. Back to the tank. We'll work down here at the legs first. We will unpeg here from the side. Rotate this side piece of the leg down like so. Rotate this whole piece upwards, and as you do, this piece will rotate. If you place your finger on the back of this piece, it will actually stop that from moving too much and kind of keep it in place. So then you can make it nice and even as you go down. Rotate this piece up, which will fold up and cover up that blank spot as nice as it can. Come down to the heel and rotate that out, just like so. For the other side, it is the exact same. You're going to unpeg it from the waist. Move this piece. Place your finger, like I said, here on the back of the thigh, which kind of holds it in place as this rotates around the best it can. Sometimes it does get caught, but you just have to work with it. Fold that out. Click that in. Bring it down. Bring the heel out. Just like so. And then you bring the waist. Rotate this around. And the lower part of Megatron is finished. To the top part of Megatron, what we'll do here is disconnect the treads here from the top piece, which will then rotate this out to get it out of the way. You can then take this whole piece here, bring this up so that you can work with the backpack a little bit as this folds down. Take the arms, fold these out front here, and kind of lay them straight so that they kind of get out of the way a little bit. To the backpack here, we'll take the treads, rotate these in, like so. Bring it on down. As you do, it will flatten out where the head should go. There are two pegs back here. One there, one on the other side. They'll just slot right in here. They don't actually peg in too hard. They just kind of lay in there. So, be mindful of that. Bring the arms down. Get them nice and straight. Bring the hands out. Like so. Once you have that finished, these pieces here at the top of the shoulders, you're going to rotate this back, revealing a nice little look here at the top of the shoulders. And there you have Megatron in his robot mode. Bringing Megatron closer in for a nice look here, we see the battle damage throughout the entire bottom part of the leg here where the shin is, up to the knee. both sides. They did put a decent amount on this guy compared to a lot of the other ones. And you can really see it throughout this guy, all the way up to his arms and his forearms, through the chest. I even have some here on his head. If we get a little closer, you can see it all over the side of his head, right about there. So really, they did go above and beyond to give him some of that battle damage. Not really sure why they didn't do it for other ones, but hey, it looks pretty good on him. As for paint, besides the battle damage, you see some blue here with yellow and red here on the chest. Some red throughout, just on occasion throughout the figure. And the rest is just gray plastic throughout. As for the head sculpt, you see some silver paint with red in the detailed eyes, as well as some black right above where the eyebrows would be. Overall, a really, really nice looking head sculpt. Articulation for this guy is what you would pretty much expect. We have full rotation here at the shoulder, all the way around, all the way out, back and front. We have rotation here at the elbow, or where I guess the lower bicep would be. We have movement about this far up, with a nice click there. Down here at the legs, we get full motion all the way out to the sides, and almost fully front and back. We do have some rotation here around the thigh, as well as good knee bend, about there, all the way up, and about that far back before the backpack gets in the way, as well as waist swivel. For the head, we get a good up and down motion all the way to the side about here. I think if you lift this up, you could get it. Nope. All the way here, nothing else. You can't really get a full rotation at all. And you get about that far to the left. Ankle tilt is on this peg for some reason. It isn't just a natural bend. You have to kind of click it in to get the motion. And once you click it back in, then it stays stiff again. Not really sure why they did that. I really hope that over time, if I do this, it doesn't mess the peg up. See, even this side doesn't click nearly as loud as this side. So I'm only expecting that to go worse as time goes by. Hopefully it doesn't, because this figure is pretty great, but really that is one of the biggest downsides I see to him. For his accessories, we can bring in his sword, which he can hold in his hand like so, and his go-to cannon. Peg it in, and now we really have some good looking Megatron action. If we turn it right, get it however you want to put it, in, out, get a little bit of bend in those ankles. Action pose there, as well as a nice action pose right there. For comparison with Megatron, we'll bring in Optimus Prime, his wave counterpart, to see the really good size comparison there. Prime is just about the same size, but I think they look really, really nice together. We'll bring in Universe Starscream to see how these two scale and how they look. Overall, I still think Universe Starscream is probably one of the best Starscreams you can get. There's not really a whole lot better ones, especially scaled-wise with this. I just think this looks nice. But we'll move on to the next Starscream, which is Power of the Prime Starscream. And again, this guy is not my favorite figure at all. But hey, they look okay together. Again, not the best. I don't like you. He's not that great. Combiner Wars Galvatron, which overall would probably be a good evolution between the two figures, but I digress. Siege Shockwave, which I'm just going to show them in this mode. This is probably my favorite mode of Shockwave, and I think these two look fantastic together. And lastly, we'll bring in G1 Megatron, my poor G1 Megatron. He's seen way better days, but hey, that's what they look like. Yes, this cannon is way too big. Let's get him transformed back into his tank mode. We'll take off the cannon for right now. Come back to that later. We will move his backpack forward and take it apart as we go. Loosen up his arms to rotate those back to get them out of the way. As we do this, we will take this piece, rotate this forward. There are slots right about there for that peg to peg into, and peg it in nicely on both sides. Rotate this back a little bit. Once you do, this should collapse some. I do have a little bit of trouble with this, but bear with me as I get this collapsed. There we go. And it kind of clicks in, which hides the head just a little bit. Back to the arms, of course, you can fold in the hands, get those out of the way. We will then rotate the entire bottom part of his body. Then you can fold in his heels for the feet, getting those out of the way. In the inner part of the leg, rotate this out. This will then start to rotate around, and as you do, you move this down, rotate this around. As you do, kind of try to hold this little piece, this part of the leg right about here in place. It does kind of move around and get out of the way, but overall you can hold it together. This, then you're going to rotate up there. You will see a peg hanging off his waist that will peg into the tank treads. Click it in, and there is one leg finished. This side, fold this out, bring it up, start to do the rotation, rotate it here at the knee, rotate that all the way around. Again, hold that piece in so it doesn't move too much. Bring it around to this side, fold this in. Again, peg, peg hole. Click this in where it lines up nicely. And the legs are finished. As for the top here, we'll just move these back out of the way for a moment. Set it aside. Come to the cannons. You will then take the two cannons, peg them in together there. Take this whole piece, and I find it easier to separate, to move this all the way around, and then click back together like so. You are going to take the two pegs here, and we'll go ahead and peg one into an arm right about here. We'll do there to there. Once you get that nicely slotted in, bring this down while rotating the other arm up. This will then peg in nicely there. Get the arms straightened up. If you remember to fold these pieces up. Get that out of the way. Fold that up. Straighten it all back out. And nicely peg it in. And there you have Megatron's tank ready to go. Overall, I do have to say this is probably one of my favorite Megatrons. I do say that a lot with some of these figures. So far, Hound has really been my only disappointment. But overall, Siege is just impressed me over and over again. This Megatron is fantastic, and I highly recommend you pick it up, as well as the other figures I have shown so far. If you like this video, please like, subscribe if you haven't done so. Thank you very much for whoever has. We have hit that 1,000 mark, and I am ecstatic. Not really sure what I want to do yet. Maybe I'll make some fancy video of something rare. Who knows? We'll see. I'll try my best to make something cool. But overall, thanks again for subscribing, and I will see you again in the next video. Thanks for watching.